The Week 9 recap and Monday Night Football Bombs edition of the Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/SGPN. Use the code SGPN for first deposit match up to $100. We're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform, parlays, player props, game lines. Download HOFBets.com. Use SGPN to get 50% off your first month. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. And with that, now here we go with a song that starts the show for the Bottom Line Bobs. Yes, welcome to the Bottom Line Bobs. I am your host, CJ Sullivan, the man. In the box. Sorry, just doing my usual cleanup here. Let's get to the comments. You were in the C block. This is show number 2. I was just in the college experience. Now it's my main show, Bottom Line Bombs. I see the chat already blowing up and coming over. Welcome. My show is a little more just me in a box. The bet detective, which was the other nickname. It just came up when I figure out the conspiracies and the inside jobs in the gambling world. I am the show that brings picks with bits for tobacco use only. And other things are going to rant. I do a man in the box segment at the end where I rant about today. It'll be about daylight savings, I believe. But also give you out a Monday Night Football bomb, and I'll recap the Sunday action of the NFL, the weekend action, I should say. Went 5-0 with the picks, with the bomb picks for the contest picks, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm so fast. I want to welcome everyone who is here. I was in Vancouver this weekend. Did shows at the House of Comedy out there. God bless you if you showed up. Beautiful, beautiful area of the world, of North America in general. Vancouver, Canada. It's gorgeous. Went hiking one day at all the trees and the nature. It's incredible. So beautiful. And then we went downtown, the Gaslight area or Gastown, whatever, and not as beautiful. They have open, literally, they have open carry in Louisiana. Here they have in Vancouver, they have open fentanyl, basically. Just thousands and thousands of people openly smoking fentanyl or whatever. Any drug you're doing, fentanyl's in it. That's basically what the cops told us. No matter what you think you're doing, there's fentanyl involved. And it's not a crime. So there you go. So they just go around and it was pretty gross. But, other than that, it was fucking gorgeous. Canada's always fun. Canada's always a little weird, always something a little off. You don't know what's going on. I couldn't quite get all the games. Yesterday, I was at the airport coming back, and they had hockey on everywhere. Matinee hockey. Couldn't get any football. I opened up my laptop. I was in the Ambassador Club, But it worked out. Todd Morris, welcome to the Bombs. I'll give you some bombs for the bomb emojis. Bryce Ridley says, "What's up, brother? You answer fantasy questions? Go ahead. I answer fantasy questions, Bryce Ridley. Put anything you want in the chat. I'll answer them, or I won't. Either way, never hurts to ask, as people say. I like that saying. Never hurts to ask. I never got behind that. It always hurts me to ask. It should hurt you to ask. You should be ashamed. Just kidding. Not you guys. Not for show-related questions. But, people ask a favor. That's what they do. I don't mind if I ask you a favor. Hey, it never hurts to ask, right? What are you talking about? It only hurts me to ask for favors. I hate doing it. Captain Sanders says, drive through fentanyl like liquor in New Hampshire. There's no driving. It is just stumbling and zombies. It was just zombies. And they all had nicer apartments than me because they get those single unit places, whatever it is. Anyway, but other than that, it was still great. It was more sad than anything. I don't really want to talk too much about that. And then on the flight back, I know, Serial, I'm just joking. You should always ask for help. It's never a bad thing, especially when I think mental health is one of our sponsors too for getting therapy. I'm just joking when I say this here. You should always ask for help. I know, Cyril, you especially today as a Dallas Cowboy fan should always be asking for help. You know, such a bad things in a game that you dominated, but yet still lost because that's what Dallas does. I understand you're in a bad situation now, so I won't rub it in that Prescott got sacked, took another sack when he shouldn't have. But I will give you this. So I'm flying back from Vancouver to Los Angeles during the Eagles-Cowboys game, the game that 99% of the country was watching. You know, that was the share. That was the game of the week, except for above the clouds. If you're flying above clouds, because I had the live TV option. That market share was Raiders-Giants. I got all that game. And I took it in every goddamn DeVito second of it. I wound up watching it later, but you know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get into, like I said, I'll start off with the Monday Night Football bombs, real quick detonation, because you are my live audience. I love you guys. You get the free nuggets for tonight because it's time sensitive, not to get you away from 130 college basketball games that are going on today, as it is opening debut. We'll get it, and then we'll recap all the other NFL games, and I'll get to a man in the box as well. But real quick, Monday Night Football, and I'll even answer some of your fantasy questions from Brad McCoy and Bryce Ridley and the boys. Yeah, I wonder, Serial, if you are asking for help now that I should ask the Zebras for help. You know, I'll get into that in a little bit, and the referees and the Giants. But anyway, let's talk about these Chargers Jets real quick. The line is 3.5. Depends where you look. Look for a 3. The over-under is 41. Hard not to like the under in this game. Although it's hard to like the under Chargers games because they score and their defense is terrible. But the Jets' defense is great and their offense is terrible. So it's a, what do they call that? Movable object, irresistible thing, whatever the fuck it is. All I know is, why do we keep getting these GD Jets? I can't take this team anymore. And I get it. They wanted the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, but still, even if Aaron Rodgers was on this team, this is too much Jets. That being said, everyone likes the Jets tonight, especially if you're getting 3.5 at home. They keep winning games. They're horrible. They get worse and worse. The fact that they should have lost to the Giants last week, and then you see what the Giants are doing, you can't believe it. Thing is, no one likes to respect defense. No one likes to bet on defense. So I'm taking the Chargers -3. I don't give a shit. I'm taking the Chargers -3. I don't think this defense is a little overrated too. And I have to admit, this is something I want to happen more than I think is going to happen, which is never a good way to bet. I want Justin Herbert to have a good game, and I want him to throw over 1.5 touchdown passes. I'll take that anyway. But I want it to happen just because I hate these Jets and I hate Robert Saleh, and I hate how he's just like getting rewarded for this nonsense. The fact that they still have Zach Wilson, a quarterback, a guy they said they hate. They told him they hate him. They told us they hated him, and then they're lying to us and say they like him. And he's all. And I don't even blame Zach Wilson for it. Oh my God! So there is that game tonight. There's Chargers -3. There's not too many. I like a Breece Hall over receiving yards. I can see that. I think it's at 21.5. He's going to get involved in the passing game. The Jets defend the pass well. That's the problem. Under 41, I think, is the most solid play tonight. I'll lean Chargers -3 because I want it to happen. And they need to win. The Jets need to win too, of course, but that doesn't mean anything. Of course, it doesn't mean anything for the Chargers either. What am I talking about? So I just talked myself out of good plays. Anyway, that being said, take the under 41.5 or 41 and Chargers -3 are my 2 bombs. Now, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Basketball season's here. You can now pick Combo projections across football and basketball from special leagues. A league created specifically for combo projections. You get like LeBron James and Travis Kelce's, like 10.5 3-pointers made plus receptions. Why? I mean, thank God you can finally do cross sports picks, parlays. This is what Prize Picks allows for you. You can play alongside some of the favorite Prize Picks players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz. You can now find community plays under the promos tab for the app view entrees from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second half, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with the injury insurance policy. I could have used that yesterday when I had what's-his-face, the Vikings rookie quarterback over rushing and touchdowns, and he crumpled down and got concussion, and they'd let Josh Downs come in and win the game. But there you go. You get to play along Meek Mill and dance to his dreams and nightmares like Robert Irsay did yesterday. There's something off-putting about all these old white men dancing to Meek Mill. Why is Meek Mill, and I love Meek Mill. Who doesn't love Meek Mill? Philly incarcerated rapper, but it's so funny how he's friends with all these NFL owners. It's just bizarre. Robert Kraft, and now Jim Irsay, and Hold up, wait a minute. They thought I was finished. It's just weird watching all these white people scream his lyrics. When it's about murder, I stay, what's up? Whoa, what are you talking about, Irsay? Who did Irsay murder? He could have murdered someone. Anyway, point is, you go to Prize Picks and you prizepicks.com/SGPN. Use code SGPN for the first deposit. Match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com. Code SGPN. Prize Picks daily fantasy sports made easy. That's it. Now we go back to the show. I should have put up the ad read thing with it, but I did not. All right, let me take a look at some of these comments, and then I'll get into some of the NFL bombs that we'll do the recap there. Bryce Ridley says, got to trade for Jonathan Taylor for Ayuk because receivers are Adams, Thielen, Kirk, Cooper, and Deontay. Yeah, of course. I like Jonathan Taylor might be banged up. Something happened to him. He looked fine yesterday. Something happened to him in the game beforehand versus Saints where he was doing great, amazing, ripping it up. And then he kind of hurt him. He was limping. And then he got like one carry in the second half. And they were like, no, we just forgot to give it to him. Really? You would send Ayuk away for JT. I like Ayuk. You know what? I bet the guy just read an article. There's an article in Sports Illustrated that our fantasy section that said to trade for Brendan Ayuk. I bet that's what he read. But at the same time, you're loaded a receiver and Ayuk with Deebo Samuel. I mean, I like Ayuk, but Deebo Samuel might come back and hurt him. It's a little questionable. Here we go. Now look at all these. I don't know how this became a fantasy question. Brad McCoy says he has Kenneth Walker and Cooper Kupp. He's at 4 and 5. Should I take my losses, trade one of them away? Maybe Gus and Kupp for Ayuk and Higgins. Now Ayuk and Higgins. Those are interesting players too. Now Higgins had a big game last night, but he's been down. But I think you can see Cincinnati's offense is about to roll, and Higgins has been down because Burrow's been down. So I like that. I don't mind taking away. And Cooper Kupp, if you can get something for Cooper Kupp is great. He's quarterback proof and all that. But these Rams are about to be a disaster. They're already bad, but they're about to be worse. Good Lord. If Stafford comes back, even if he does, what's going to happen then? He's just an old horse. Bet Detective is on that. Anyway. Captain Sanders has another excuse to talk about Tommy DeVito. You're goddamn right.
Ferrari.
We'll talk to Tommy DeVito in a little bit. Cyril says loves the Crosby picture. Then I have in there Crosby and Mark Davis. It's amazing. Anyway, E. Arbo wants to know, why didn't the Niners flex the Niners, Jags, Jets, Raiders is garbage can? I know. Well, we can't get rid of these Jets because the NFL lies to you. The NFL doesn't care about what the best game is. They want to know what the market share is. In New York, and Raiders are the market share, and they're going to hype it up. So you see from TC. Anyway, let's get into the show. Let's get into the bombs that were 5-0 as the chat room is getting lit. I love it, you guys. We went 5-0. We'll talk. Let's talk about Vegas. So that Vegas Giants game, that was one of our winners. We had Vegas 2. That was pillar to post. Vegas -2, I believe. That I watched pretty much every second of it because on the airplane, for some reason, that was the market share. Vegas Giants, and they didn't have a ticker going on. They didn't have anything. They had the D team announcers. They had Liner there, or Mark Sanchez, someone. It was amazing. So Vegas won. Daniel Jones got hurt without getting touched. It was kind of sad. Tore his ACL. He may never play for the Giants again. That might be a blessing in disguise for the Giants. But Dable anyway. So finally, Tommy DeVito gets back in there. And Tommy DeVito.
Ferrari.
He was bad again. No, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He was bad again. He loves running. But they finally said, all right, you know what? We allow you to throw the ball, Tommy. Last week, we didn't let you throw the ball. This week, you can throw it a bit if you want. Tommy's like, I can throw it, you know. I went to Cuse. We threw the ball at Syracuse a bit. And I think I'm the only one who says I don't think he was that bad. His touchdown pass was he had one drive. It wasn't the worst. He gets no protection there. I will say that about him. But how much did this fucking Raider team hate Josh McDaniels was the story out of this. Holy shit. I get it. They rallied for the coach, Antonio Pierce, you know, kind of a Chef Saturday kind of way. But my God, they were so, I mean, it was cigars after the game and champagne like they won the World Series. You beat Tommy DeVito, boys. Relax. And I get it. You wanted to do it. And then there's a story that Jay Glazer said that there was a meeting beforehand, air their grievances, and everyone just ripping on Josh. So McDaniel's like, Pierce, can you say something for me? And he's like, all right. Yeah, when he coached the Patriots, we beat him as the Giants. Remember that? I don't know how that helps McDaniels. McDaniels says, don't you talk about the Patriots like that. And they fired him. I don't buy that story. I'm not saying Jay Glazer's a liar at all. But I bet someone told him that and he believes it as he wrestles with them in the octagon. But there's no way McDaniel said, you don't talk about the Raiders like that. That's what happens when people get fired and when everyone's down on someone and it's easy to kick Josh McDaniels because he's Josh McDaniels. Then all these stories come out and everyone just believes it. I also heard he didn't tip at the fucking buffet at Cosmopolitan. Like what? Like, where was this shit before? Where's that same energies? McDaniels was hated in that NFLPA survey. He's a perfect anonymous survey because he comes from those Patriots. Those Patriots are so annoying. But I just don't think it's a little. But I love it. I was like, oh, we really wanted to win for Antonio Pierce. We just said no matter what, we're going to leave it. Well, where was this the entire season? We didn't really care then. Then we were just getting paid to be professional football players. Not enough motivation. You know what I mean? Had nothing to do with Jimmy Garoppolo being fucking benched. So Tommy DeVito, he runs around like the backup in necessary roughness, like blow the whistle, hey Tommy, and he's just yelling at fucking defensive linemen. He's running in head first to these guys. It was hilarious. Anyway, the Raiders slaughtered them. Big win for them. That was a big win. Dable, and I still understand. So once Daniel Jones goes up, they have Matt Barkley as a third string quarterback, but he wasn't active. So if DeVito got hurt, that was it again. That's back-to-back weeks. How is there not a third-string quarterback on the sideline? What is this? I still don't get the rule. You create a sport where every rule is to protect these quarterbacks, and the entire offense, the entire sport, hinges on them being out there. So why can you have three of them? Nah, can't suit them up. We got to suit up 40 other guards and tackles. You can only have two quarterbacks and one kicker. That's it. The two most important positions on the field, quarterback and kicker. They make up over 70% of the scoring and reasons why teams score. And you can only have one kicker and two quarterbacks. Why? That happened yesterday in the Houston-Tampa Bay game. Their kicker got hurt. So they had to have a running back. What's his name? Dare, whatever his name is. He had to kick for that. How come teams are? I love when a kicker gets hurt. NFL teams are never prepared when a kicker gets hurt. They got specialists who can kick 65-yard field goal soccer style from Spain. Then if they hurt a toe, let's get our biggest lineman to kick it straight on and put their weight behind it. They have no idea what to do. Yeah, Dable misses Buffalo, all right. Dable being the fact that Dable got coach of the year last year is looking worse and worse. That is not going to hold up. That's going to hold up as well as Marissa Tomei's Oscar. You know, we look back like, what? She got an Oscar for doing that obnoxious act. I mean, it's funny, you know, I'm my cousin Vinny, but we gave her an Oscar. What the fuck were we doing? What did we think it was, an MTV Movie Award or something? Dable, coach of the year. Hilarious. So the Raiders got their win. Congratulations, Raider. And you beat Tommy DeVito. I hope Tommy DeVito quarterbacks the rest of the way. Come on. Who cares? What's Matt Barkley going to show you? Sure, he might be competent, but this is a disaster. That's how you get the number one pick. You get a Tommy DeVito. Hey, everybody. So first is Ben DiNucci. Get Ben DiNucci to back up Tommy DeVito. Get a Ben DiNucci on there. Everybody eats with a Ben DiNucci. Offense against a touchdown. Defense against a touchdown. Tommy DeVito coming running around. Our other game, speaking of quarterbacks, then you see what happened in Minnesota, or in Atlanta, the Minnesota-Atlanta game. Minnesota was another bomb we hit. Plus 4.5 was a good number because it went off at 3.5. They went outright because Josh Dobbs gets in there. Josh Dobbs, they signed on Thursday. He knows none of the plays. He goes out there, throws 2 touchdowns, runs for another one, has a huge comeback, and they beat Atlanta. That just proves how complicated coaches make quarterbacking in the NFL. It doesn't need to be fucking this complicated. Josh Dobbs knew none of the plays, didn't know the players' names. Who cares? They're like, okay, this guy's going this way, this guy's going that way. Make it happen. And they do. Touchdown. Why? And Dobbs is a smart guy. He's like a engineer or something, right? He's like an aerospace engineer in fucking Tennessee. He's like a brilliant guy. Obviously, he keeps learning. He keeps getting traded, and he keeps learning different playbooks. He was doing well with Arizona, a little too well. Arizona's like, hey, we're not here to win games. Let's ship you out to Minnesota or something. They're going nuts though about that. Like, oh, he was learning the cadence on the sideline. All right. Listen, I'm all on board on the Josh Dobbs miracle story, how he didn't know the plays and they're teaching him, hey, he goes left, he goes right, he runs a post, hit him on the flag. The cadence, all right, calm down. Hike 1, hike 2, blue 43 on you. Let's go break. I mean, come on. Yeah, you're not doing a complicated fall signals, but like, how hard is it to just say, okay, we're going to do it on 3. Hut, hike. Just saying that. Sean D. Kane says Dobb lived a literal episode of Quantum Leap. Max, where am I? I'm in. You're in the Mercedes-Benz dome. Scott Bakula. They should do a Quantum Leap Necessary Roughness mixer. Scott Bakula, the original Quantum Leap guy, and the one I grew up on. And then he was the quarterback of Necessary Roughness. That'd be great. That'd be fun if he just dropped in the middle of different games each week. They wanted to do that reboot. Instead, they just did a regular old reboot with an Asian guy. Secret Asian guy. Now, I'm not being racist with the song. I'm just getting around musical copyrights. That's how you got to do it. Serial says DeVito's next on the injury list after Dallas next week. Nah, I don't know about that, Serial. That'd be amazing. Now, the Cowboys, the Cowboys will beat the Giants, Serial. You're right. That's a team they can beat. They like beating bad teams. They like beating up on them. Yeah. One guy I don't want to be that week is Tommy DeVito. You'll like this story, Serial. One of my favorite old Will McDonough quotes. The great Boston Globe sports writer, Will McDonough, father of Sean McDonough, I believe. He used to host a show with Bill Parcells, and I think Dave Campo was the Cowboys coach, and they were playing Tampa Bay, opening game of the season. Warren Sapp, Tampa Bay, like the good Tampa Bay. Tough defense. Tony Dungy, Tampa Bay defense. And Quincy, and they were running option. That was the thing Campo was going to do. We're going to run option. And Will McDonough had a great line in that accent. He goes, one quarterback I wouldn't want to be this week, Quincy Carter. Wouldn't want to be Quincy Carter this week with Warren Sapp and the boys. Anyway, one thing I don't want you to be is Danny DeVito or Tommy DeVito. I'm not apologizing about the race jokes, Yarbo. I'm apologizing for the musical copyrights. Can't get the song for my singing voice. I'll never apologize for that. For race jokes. Like I said, I'm trying to get on the air so I can get canceled. Can't cancel me till I get on the air, baby. Baby. How about Joe Burrow last night? Well, who's amazing. Joe Burrow, they're back. Broadway Joe. Like we said, that was another bomb we hit. Cincinnati -1 over Buffalo. They're like, wake me when it's November. That's the Bengals theory. Like, whatever. We'll get to the playoffs. But he's so Broadway Joe at the end. Was it Clarissa Thompson, whatever? So sideline reporter interview after the games. Like, how's your finger? It's nothing wrong. That's football, baby. And like, it looked like he was calling her baby, which he kind of had which he didn't apologize for because he's Joey Burrow. Those guys don't apologize. I just meant like in the Al Davis way. Fuck off, baby. Burrow's hilarious. He really is. Oh, man. Anyway, so Minnesota got their win. Unbelievable. Arthur Smith is the worst. There's so many bad coaches and so many bad footballs. Now you realize it might not have been Desmond Ritter's fault. Although Taylor Hankey's better. I'm not saying it's not. At least now. Who knows if Desmond Ritter will be better? But there was that one video Kurt Warner broke down, like of all just how bad the offensive plays are in Atlanta. And Arthur Smith is like, well, fuck, everyone can do a hot take. Come on down. First of all, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, Kurt Warner. And it wasn't a hot take. It was an X's and O's analysis with film. It was the opposite of a hot take. A hot take is just a bullshit opinion that I have. Point is, Arthur Smith was terrible. And then because he's so dismissive, and I knew Arthur Smith grew up rich. I didn't know he was that rich. I just found that out. That he's the son of the founder of FedEx. Dear Lord, that's money. The founder of FedEx. That's why his first job was at Washington. That was only FedEx Stadium. My God. Anyway, but the point is, there was a tweet that everyone roasted him about because last week they asked him about why is your offense so bad? He goes, anyone who knows football, that's what he does. And that's what a rich kid who's not qualified does. If you know football, reporters, then it takes a long time for a quarterback and a coach to develop and come and sync in their offense. It takes a long time. Cut to 2 days later. Really? Because Josh Dobbs just learned the offense during a commercial break. He didn't hit the skip ads button during a commercial break. He learned the entire Vikings offense enough to beat you. What did you say about that? He did. Anyway. So we hit that. We hit Cincinnati. We hit Vegas. We hit Minnesota. What was the other one we hit? We hit the Bears plus 8.5. We don't need to talk about that. The Saints did what the Saints did. They won. They should have won by more, but they didn't. We'll skip that game. And then, of course, Eagles, Cowboys. Serial. Where are you on that one? Now, it was a great game. I did not see it while the whole country. I watched it later on. Replay. I didn't get to watch it live. So I'm watching I watched all the Vegas Giants game on the airplane. I landed LAX. Eagles were up 28-17. I'm like, it should be all right, right? I knew it wasn't over, obviously, and then by the time I got there, it was like a minute left. Well, as soon as I landed, so I go into a bar, and it's right when the Cowboys get the ball for the final time. They only had 8 different chances to win the game. and they get the pass interference, go up to the 50, and that drive happens. And it's me. And of course, this table full, this family, and the dad's a Cowboy fan because there's always a goddamn Cowboy fan. And he's in a tank top. Cowboy fans are always in tank tops at public bars. Always. And they're not ripped, but they're in tank tops. And then the Eagles got the win because Dak took a sack and what he did. They did what they did. I don't blame you. Can't blame Dak Prescott. Like I said, I love Dak Prescott. I hope he's the Cowboys quarterback for fucking 10 more years because he's good, but he's just not good enough. You know, he just doesn't do that. He doesn't beat great teams, but he does beat bad teams, and he beats them enough where it gets everyone riled up. Like, here we go, we're back, and then somehow, some way, they always lose. Anyway, Arbor says, CJ, you warned me about Saints in the Survivor. It was a tough game. I mean, that Bears Saints game was back and forth. The Bears easily could have won that game. They didn't. Congratulations if you did survive. If you did survive with the Saints, we had Cleveland to survive, but you know. Arbor wants to know who had the worst collapse at the end, the Bucks or Falcons. Bucks secondary should be fine for that performance. Just Bucks did have an injury during the game but their secondary was horrendous. I'll get into that game in a second. That was for the 5-0 bombs. Let me just bomb that in. Oh yeah, Sherry, you're right. The BS calls. I did miss. I watched the game at the end. I saw. First of all, the penalties were 10-10 each side, and the Eagles got penalized for more yards. Granted, half of it was on that interference call, and you got that ridiculous roughing the Dak on that final drive too. That sets you up for that touchdown. The penalties were even 10-10, so I don't want to hear. Anyway, Dallas, you'll get another chance to play us, and then complain about something else that time. That's what you guys do. But first, and when you do, Serial, want to go to that game, you go to Game Time. You want to go to Jerry's World for the Eagles-Cowboys revenge game? This time we'll have all the refs in there. Maybe Stephen Jones can come up in a competition committee and abolish the tush push. Well, then you go to the Game Time app. You get your last ticket deals. You get a ticket that's not objective. They show you where it's at, so you can look up at their TV screen and you buy a ticket that's not as expensive. The closer it gets to Game Time, that's the beauty of Game Time. As the game gets closer, the tickets get cheaper. So download the Game Time app, create a account, use code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code CFBX for $20 off. Then you buy the best seat in the house for the revenge game for the Eagles-Cowboys game Serial, and then you can look up at Jerry's TV and complain about referees. Just kidding. We are back here on the Bottom Line Bombs. I am CJ Sullivan. I love all you guys, especially you, Serial, and Jason. I love you all equally. Just joking. If I can't rat you a little bit the day after an Eagles beat the Cowboys game, when can you? Come on. You know, that's what we're here for. Just gonna write down the ad. But thank you, everyone on YouTube. And matter of fact, it's time for you to like me. Like me back now. Hit the thumbs up. Don't just sit there. Oh, I'm watching through the YouTube. Let me go through the StreamYard. Yeah, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and like the button. Like I said, you don't need to actually like me. Just pretend you do. Lie to the algorithm and hit that thumbs up. Love having you guys in there. I'll try to answer any of your questions in your Survivors, fantasies, whatever you want. You can toss your questions out there. I'll get to it. Maybe I'll even type it in there. Who knows? Let me recap a few more of the NFL games, then I'll get to the man in the box segment. That Houston-Tampa Bay game was great. But like I said, the teams are never ready for a kicker being hurt. How did CJ Stroud looks incredible, which is amazing, which is funny how he's the only Ohio State quarterback that looks good for some reason. But how did they lose to the fucking Panthers the week before? How did he lose to Bryce Young? I think he did it just for Bryce Young's ego and for Carolina's offense, because like Carolina obviously made a mistake taking Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. That there's just no doubt around that. It's not too early to say that. That's the truth. Frank Reich is like, Jesus, I'm never going to coach again. They showed him yesterday after the second pick six Young throws, and he's like, I am never coaching again because the owner drafted this guy. That's what happens with it. It's incredible. But I just love how. So if you had Houston -2.5, that's a bad beat. I guess you want to say it's a bad beat. Houston won by 2. I mean, it was an incredible game. You're right. Tampa Bay's defense was brutal. Baker played good. People don't want to talk about that because it's Baker. So they're -2.5. They scored a touchdown. Extra point would have made it 3. But they had to take a knee because they didn't want to risk it getting blocked and brought back for 2 points, which is the weirdest rule. One of the weirdest rules in football, that if you block an extra point or bring an extra point back the other way, it's 2 points. So I do agree with what they did because they had a running back kicking the ball. So they were going for 2 every time. They were going for a 4th down, which actually, unbeknownst to them, makes them a better team when you're going for a 4th down all the time like that. But then he did kick a 29-yard field goal. That was amazing. It's always amazing when a non-kicker does something kicking-wise and the team goes crazy for it. No, you don't kick. I agree with the non-kick as well. Serial's saying they still could have ran a play. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. But if it's a fumble, you can fumble it too, like DeAndre Swift. And they can return that back for 2. I don't know why they kept going. What's weird is that an extra point now is deeper than a field goal sometimes because he kicked a 29-yard field goal, but the extra point's like longer. Because they were going for 2 when there was no need to, not when there was no need to, but mathematically it didn't make any sense. But it's kind of a brutal way. Serial says baby shit soft LO. I think he might have been on Houston. I get it. It's a weird way to do it. It's a weird way to it's a bad way to lose. When they take a knee. I'm surprised teams don't do that more often, actually. That's why they have to make these extra points automatic. They keep fucking with it. It's so funny because extra points used to be so automatic. They're like, well, let's move it back then and make it 35 yards. Why? It's too easy. They just hate kickers. They hate when kicking is easy. That's why you can't have a backup kicker. Football thinks kicking is too effeminate. So they want to they're like, fuck them, who cares? Cut them, whatever. That's why they changed the overtime rules. First score wins unless it's a field goal. Field goal, then the other team gets, because that wasn't real. That was soft. That was feminine. A safety, which is less points than a field goal, counts as a win in overtime. Why? Because it takes a man to score a safety, unless you snap it over the head. Which is funny because that's how most safeties are. Either you run out of the back of the end zone by accident, or a punter snapped over the head, like in or shotgun snap overhead, like Denver in a Super Bowl. Buffalo going for 2 when down 14. Yeah, that's the new mathematics, Serial. I don't know if I agree with that either, but it's true. What that is if you're down 14, you go for 2. Because you're supposed to be 50% of 2-point conversion. So if you miss it, you're down 8. You can still score a touchdown on 2 and tie it. If you make it, then you're down 6. Then a 7 points wins you the game. You don't have to go to overtime. See, the thing is with going for 1. The theory behind that is, if you kick 1 and it's to tie it up, you still have to win in overtime. This eliminates having to win in overtime. Either way, they weren't getting the ball back. A lot to bring down. That's Cincinnati. That's Cincinnati. Joey Burrow. DeMar Hamlin. Those are DeMar Hamlin returning. Did DeMar Hamlin even play last night? There's enough segments on it. I get it. It's a story. Tell you what I don't like about the DeMar Hamlin story. No offense to DeMar Hamlin. I'm not trying to talk shit about DeMar Hamlin. I love who you're never going to win that argument. But the DeMar Hamlin rescue team, I've had enough of them. All right. I've had enough of this goddamn EMS team. They're the dream team they bring out, like they're the fucking '92 Barcelona dream team basketball. Oh my God, these guys saved his life. They got his number on the back of their ambulance. They're a toast of the town. Holy shit with this Damar Hamlin stuff. You did your job, I get it, but you didn't come out of the stands. It's not like is there a doctor in the house? Is there an EMS team is there a defibrillator in the house? The Cincinnati Dream Team of emergency squads. Holy Lord. They're retiring numbers. They're getting fat and sassy. Calm down. All right. You haven't had to do a gig. The easiest gig in the world is the emergency team at a fucking football game or sports. Maybe not football, but because there's one at each one. But that's just for the cameras here. We drive out there. Usually, all right, lift it up. How many times do they fall the guy on the stretcher? But this team, my Lord, they're ringing the stock bell. The stock bell, the stock market bell. Here they are. And then they do the group hug. They're at the ESPYs. All right. When do you guys work? Why don't you go back to work and get down into town? Go about to Vancouver or is a street of fentanyl? I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I need that song to sit with. Should I do some zippy tragedies? Yeah, Captain Insane was down to 1-5 comeback player. He was like minus 700 for comeback player of the year. He's got to get on the field. They're throwing him on the field for a kickoff team, Damar Hamlin shit is annoying. It's a lot more tragic. It's funny. So this segment, C-Generates, that you guys love, when I say this music makes any sound, any story sound zippy. I was listening to radio and they actually do they play house music and DJ music when they're telling the news, and the news is always tragic. I was like, Palestine reports that 10,000 people have now been killed in the Gaza Strip. Or there was an earthquake in Nepal. 157 people died. 5.6 magnitude, worse than a decade. So I do it as a joke just because of that song. But I was listening to radio, and they actually kind of do that. They have house music playing while the news person reads the news, because that's what the radio's got to do. Okay, what's going on? I mean, I should have downloaded some fucking house music before I talked about this. Maybe I should do it as tragic stories. Talk about AI is now using nude photos and videos geared towards young women and teenagers. Who couldn't see that coming? Fake porn. Like I said, anytime there's any new technology online or computer, men will jerk off to it and ruin it. Twitter, chat roulette, anything. It's going to be masturbated on eventually. So AI, yeah, they're going to use it for fake nudes and ruin women's lives. That's what men do. Sarah wants to know, can you win comeback player of the year if you get injured in 4 snaps and come to save the team for the playoffs? I mean, writers do this shit. And this is why he's going to win. Damar Hamlin will win comeback player of the year, even if he does just get on the field for a couple snaps. And I'm sitting on a Lamar Jackson comeback player of the year ticket at 25-1, which I don't think is going to happen because it's all narrative. He might win the MVP, but he's not going to win comeback player of the year because it's all about the narrative and writers, and then you get out of free. So if you get outed as the guy who did not vote for Damar Hamlin, I mean, writers are assholes, but you don't want that smoke. Yeah, I don't know. He wasn't good of a player. He was only a wedge buster. I know he died on the field and all. But Jameson Williams, he came back from betting on parlays or Calvin Ridley. He was sad for a year. Just kidding. Anyway, what were we talking? What was I talking about? Got a lot of comments firing up. I'm on those Oregon Ducks too. They're up 40-30 at halftime. That's good to know. It's hard to get into. So whatever. Like I said, I'm not rooting against Damar Hamlin. I am rooting against the Cincinnati Emergencies. I'm sick of them being celebs out there. All right, let's get to the box then. Right, Scott Vincent says the guy who didn't vote for Jeter, and God forbid you don't vote for Derek Jeter for something like that. Then you get ripped apart. Then you get fucking strung up. Then you can't have free dinners with the Cincinnati Emergency Squad. You know. So anyway, we are here. We are in the box. Like I said, thank you for everyone. Tale to Survivor and 510 Thursday, of course, which is we're live here on the C Block every Thursday and Monday. College starts at noon Pacific, and then the Bottom Line Bombs, my show, Man in the Box, starts at 1:30, usually 1:45. And I'll have hopefully the 5-0 Bombs. I mean, that wraps up the second quarter for the circuit contest, so a new quarter starts. So we'll get a momentum going for that. We are now, what's that make our overall record? We were 20-19-1, so 25-19-1. It's pretty good. And we had the Monday Night Football Bombs today, and maybe we'll get into college basketball. Who knows? There's more sports come in there. We got a lot to go on to. Hope you guys are enjoying that extra hour. We had daylight savings over the weekend. I like to say daylight savings, the good one, happened on Saturday, where you get the hour back. Although as you get older, you kind of want to go forward. You want more time to die. No, I'm just kidding. You lose the daylight, but you go out in the bars and the bars go back like that. You know, it's like 2 o'clock. That was good. I mean, not that I go out to bars anymore, but the 2 o'clock. That was always great. I always argued if 2 o'clock goes back to 1 o'clock, and once it goes to 2, it should keep going back. So it should be in perpetuity. You should always be out there. I do have a joke about how the lights should go on an hour early. I'm not saying close, but turn the lights on at 1 o'clock along with it, so everyone get a good look around and see where they're at in life. You know. Because when that last call light comes on, there's that last call sound. Because you finally see you've been talking to for the last hour. You're like, oh, good. A couple more Jaeger bombs. Anyway, point is, daylight savings happens. You know what's always funny about daylight savings? So, on paper, it's a pretty big thing, daylight savings. We all collectively decide to change time as we know it. You know? We go like, okay, yeah, you know how everyone thinks right now it's 2:38 p.m. Pacific, 5:38 Eastern, 4:30 Central, 3:30 Mountain, if you agree with that fucking weird-ass time zone. So we all agree to move time. But then there's no advertising for it. It's just like a rumor that happens. You would think that'd be the biggest story of the month, the day, whatever. Hey, don't forget, but it's always like, you just hear about it. Oh, it's tonight daylight savings? Like it's a whisper when you're out. Oh, we got another. Are we forward? Are we backward? Is there a rhyme to this? Yeah, spring forward, fall back, or do, ba-ba-boo. A after E, I-O-U. What? How is this not the news story of the night? Yeah, before we get into Palestine and Israel, we'd be remiss if we didn't say time as you know it will be altered. Your entire life will change. But the reality is it doesn't change that much. I used to say it's a rumor that you could start it up. You could have said it's daylight savings any of the last Saturday nights when you're out. People would believe you. It's like boxing matches before the internet and shit like that. Like, you know, like when Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, their fights would happen like it because it was if you were from the East Coast, it would always be in the middle of the night because they would be fighting in Vegas or something. I used to spread those rumors. Yeah, Tyson lost. What? Yeah, he lost. Wait, and then you wouldn't know until the next morning that someone was lying. But anyway, So people do react to it. So like, I got an email today from someone who was like, sorry. Someone's like, sorry, I'm still messed up from daylight savings. So the guy, people use the daylight savings excuses like for a couple weeks. I always love these people. Just admit you didn't text back or you didn't email back. He tried to throw daylight savings in there as an excuse why. And I hope they're not listening because they know I'm talking about them. But he's like, yeah, sorry to get back on this. Daylight savings really has me messed up. What? What are you talking? What'd you get off a flight from Japan? What are you talking about? You went to sleep and your phone changed while you were sleeping. You didn't have to do anything. You wouldn't even fucking known. Why do I curse right there? Your microwave. That's the only thing. The only one who knows daylight savings happened is your microwave. Because your phone and your microwave are no longer in sync. And to be honest with you, microwave, screw you. No one's telling you about it. I might not even change your microwave. I'm going to wait to you know what? I'm going to wait 6 months from now, microwave. When we move the clocks back up an hour, then you'll have the right time. But for the next 6 months, you're going to be the wrong time because nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your clock. I hate pushy microwaves. Microwaves, you were the big thing in the 80s. Okay. You needed a clock. You have all these buttons that nobody uses. People use 2 buttons on the microwave. And then they beep. I hate when you put something in how does this get into microwave ranting? I was talking about daylight savings. That's what happens in the box. This thing can go anywhere. I can go from daylight savings to microwaves. Nothing's safe. Nothing's safe when you're in my peripheral vision in the box. But no, but seriously, this is why I hate microwaves. Because first of all, microwaves, I get it. You're on hard times. You were the shit in the 80s. You were the invention. Now you get a free one, if you open up a checking account. Not that people have checking accounts anymore, but I mean, they're like with VCRs or nothing. You can find them behind the couch. You can vacuum them up or something instead of bending over. I don't know what that means. That's a joke. So microwaves have the clock. They have 30 buttons on there. You don't need any of them. You need like 2 buttons on a microwave. And the clock, I don't even know how to set you. I don't want to know how to set you. So you're just gonna be the wrong time until spring. But I hate when you cook something in there and then you're not going to rush over to open it sometimes. And maybe I'm doing air and sometimes I'll do microwave and I'm not doing air, cleaning up or taking a shower, whatever. And then it beeps to remind you, beep, beep, I'm in here. Yeah, I know microwave. All right. I know my fucking lean cuisine's in there. I'll get to you. Well, I'm just saying it's been a while. Just want to make sure you don't forget that I heated up I heated up those frozen wings from last night. They're in here. Did you forget that they're in here? No, microwave, I didn't. I don't care. Listen, microwave. Sometimes I'll be staring at you. That's when I want to eat. That's when I'll be looking right at it. And as soon as you're done, I'll pop it open. Like I like when they say, like, let's stand in microwave for 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, LOL. No way. I've never I'm not letting anything stand for 1 to 2 minutes to cool off. I'm either eating it immediately or I'm wandering around. Wobbly Rooster says, I don't know if you're trying to sell this thing as a Facebook marketplace. Bro, speaking of VCR, looked up how much a DVD VCR combo is. $450 refurbished, $700 new. That's crazy. Oh, a DVD VCR combo. The DVD VCR combo is hilarious because that was like when the DVDs came out, people were scared to get rid of the VCRs. Those were people who were just scared to let go of the VCR technology. I think my dad got one. So, well, how do we have all these videotapes? How do we convert it to the DVD? You don't. You say goodbye to videotapes forever. They're cumbersome, okay? I'm not saying I don't like microwaves, but they're too big for their britches. Shiro says air fryer better than a microwave. Of course it is. I know. I use the air fryer as an oven now, whatever it is. Blow it out. You can't talk about air fryer. You can't be the guy who talks about the air fryer. It's careful. It's a weird culture, that air fryer culture. You gotta have an air fryer. Air fryers, they are best, but just keep it on the wraps. I need to get a new one. Yarba says he loves his microwave. I know. I'm not talking bad about microwaves. I'm just saying. Does anyone have VCR and DVDs? In college, we had, remember the TV VCR combo, the 13-inch TV with the VCR built into it? That was a hot item. That was a good dorm room item. And then when you turned off the videotape, the screen would go completely blue. So that was a joke we did in college. If anytime you caught someone watching the blue screen, that means you just walked in on them masturbating, basically. Those things were just loaded with porn tapes in college. And then someone would walk in, you jump up real quick and hit stop. Oh, were you watching the blue screen, were you? Yeah, just watching the blue over here. Nothing. Why? What are you up to? Just how'd that test go? What test? I don't know. Just stopped. This is just very embarrassing. Microwave man in the box, Todd Moore says. I'm all for that. Look at my hair. I'm looking at my hair in this thing. Arbo says there's a ton of great movies. I used to have a huge VHS collection. A lot of it copied right from TV, recorded off Prism, which was the Philly HBO. It was HBO, but didn't have all the great movies, but you still get, you get some movies, but you also get sports. You get like Sixers and Flyers and Phillies. So that's why we had Prism. It also had Emmanuel at night. Speaking of the blue screen, the Emmanuel series, Prism had anything you wanted. I'll tell you that much. And then I had duffel bag. Here's the thing: the VHS tapes. But and then we got to wrap up this box, this VHS man in a box segment, and wrap up the show here because we're getting late as it is. Yeah, so I have movies, Fletch, the whole thing. SP, LP, SLP. SP was slow play. That was 2 hours. LP long play, 4 hours. Or SLP, super long play, 6 hours. You get the SLP tape, 6 hours. You get 3 movies on there. Fit them on there. Quality is not as great as a 2-hour SP. But you can have this huge movie collection. We color coordinated them. We did a whole thing. We labeled them. We documented them. My dad had a lot of golf on tape. We had a thing in our library, not library, our bookshelf, where it looked like a library. It was like, but it was VHS, it was videotape holders, but they looked like, leather bound books, as they say in Anchorman. But they were actually 4 videotapes that were away, separate from our videotape collection because they were special, My dad's Charlie Sullivan special Super 4. That was like your top 8 MySpace friends. This was his top 4 VIP VHS tapes away from our chest box of videotapes. And in that special 4 was the 1985 Villanova championship game when they beat Georgetown in one of the greatest upsets in sports history. I think it was a replay actually from Channel 17 a couple months later. Anyway, maybe a couple Ben Crenshaw putting videos. I don't know. Anyway, but it had a Villanova Georgetown game on there, some Ben Crenshaw putting videos, and maybe possibly an Eagles Cowboys Ray Rhodes game. Anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, eventually we had to so you would move apartment to apartment, and half of the shit I was moving was just duffel bags of videotapes of movies. And I'm like, how long am I going to live like this? So eventually I just set it to sale. I went to the Lake Chicago, Lake Michigan or in Chicago, and just floated them away and waved goodbye. Like it was a baby floating it down the river. I know. Sean D. Kane says, reusing tapes. Next thing you know, you're watching WrestleMania 17. Suddenly a Sonic Hedgehog cartoon interrupts. Taping over a tape. That's when you start getting the clones, Tom Amansky baseball trading videos. Those are good ones. Throwing balls through a garbage cans. Then there's Girls Gone Wild. Speaking of porn tapes, was that the pinnacle? Was that the last hurrah of VHS tapes? The Girls Gone Wild. Back when you would order tapes off of TV commercials. Freddie McGriff does recommend it. Todd Moore still watch Silk Stockings on DVD. Hilarious comments, you guys. There, man. 250 CD case of movies. Serial had. Yeah, I remember those serial. You put them on the wall, right? Even like audio cassette tapes. That nice round wood. You put that together. That was just a business. The business of where to hold your fucking tapes and DVDs. The Girls Gone Wild guy's in jail, right? He was an obvious creep that did sexual. So I mean, come on. Who couldn't see that coming? And with him died the videotape. Check out Matt McCarthy's TikTok. He's a big VHS guy. He does the whole thing on videotapes. Check him out on socials. I should plug my own stuff, including my other podcast, Blackout Diaries, I do with Sean Flannery. If you like drinking stories, back when I used to drink, it's a very funny show. But that is going to do it for today's Man in the Box. And today's show. Thank you for everyone who is with us today. What a great show. What a great fucking absolute chat room. Absolute chat room. I don't even know how to say words. Follow me on the social media. CJ Sullivan was taken on Instagram, not like Liam Neeson. On Twitter, I'm CJ at CJ Sullivan _ Now it's called X. E. Arbo, real quick, says the first time he tripped on mushrooms, we watched Girls Gone Wild commercials for 3 hours and laughed at everything. I know it seems like those infomercials went on forever at late hours of the night, you know? Faces of Death tapes, Faces of Death and One mixtapes all at the same time. You had to know a guy in college, he'd drop it off. Faces of Death were wild. Always weird. People had the whole collection of Faces of Death. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs here if you're not already. Like it if you haven't liked it already. Subscribe on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. That's important too. Just so I get the download. Just download me. Just kidding. If you like it, share it with 50,000 of your friends, and then we'll get somewhere, C-Generates. We got something cooking here, and now we're including 5-0. So, with that, boys, girls, C-Generates, good luck. Let's hit these bombs tonight, and see you on a Betamax sometime. Goodbye.